Welcome guys to Ready Set RC, and today we are doing the final thoughts review of the Arrma Felony. For you first timers to the channel, welcome. And I must say, before you watch any more of the video, please do read the description below. It kind of walks you through all the steps of what we've done with this car to this point. So at this point, we've done an unboxing, a comparisons video to this and the Arma Limitless. We've done a speed test run. We've done just a rip with this, and I've really enjoyed running the Arrma Felony. Now, I have not put in as many packs as I would have done in regards to like an off-road basher. I've only done maybe about 2 to 3 packs on this car, and that's simply because it's an on-road car. There's not really much I'm gonna have to test out with this before I get to the point if I like it or I don't like it. So we've only put in 2 to 3 packs on this, and I'm going to talk about my experiences with this car on this video today. So for typical fashion of how I do the reviews, we're going to touch on electronics, which covers the transmitter, the receiver, the ESC, the motor, and the servo. Next, we'll touch on the drivetrain and how the drivetrain is actually performed for us during our runs. Handling and suspension, durability, which is probably going to be a very short segment on here, workability, another very short segment on here, support, and the opinionated parts of the discussion. Is it worth it? And would I buy it again? So first off, let's touch on electronics. And we're going to speak on the controller and the receiver for this vehicle. On this car, they're using the DX3, which is a fairly new controller for the Arma lineup. And I have to say, guys, I really was impressed with this controller. I really did like the feel. It has a foam wheel, all of the settings on here. It does have AVC. It is one of those newer controllers, and if you're in the Spectrum family, it does have the battery control. I touch much more on this in the unboxing, but for the review video, I really did enjoy this. Controller with the Arrma Felony. In regards to the receiver, we did not cut out. We were able to run this around on the open parking lot. We had no issues with the transmitter and receiver cutting out from each other. Very good in the hand, feels good. You got the on-off button back here on the back. You do have to hold it to shut it off, but it is fairly simple and straightforward, and it takes 4 AA's. As I said, talked about this more in the unboxing. You guys want to hear more about this transmitter? Check it out in the unboxing, guys. As for the ESC and the motor, worked well in this, guys. I mean, we did some speed rips up and down. We ran it in, we ripped it around in the parking lot. Didn't have any issues whatsoever in regards to heat with the ESC and the motor on here. Now you have a 150 amp ESC and you have a 2050 kV motor. No issue whatsoever, guys. This thing handled very well. We drove this in the middle of the summer and no issues whatsoever. And then came back and drove it again towards the fall. No issues whatsoever. I mean, I really do like the setup on this. As for the servo that's on here, it is a 15 kilogram servo. Had no problems with the speeds at all with this. With how I like to drive my cars, I had no problems with the speed of the servo that's in here. It is a Arma servo, and the Arma has now started putting the Spectrum ESC and motors in their vehicles, and I gotta say, guys, I'm really impressed. For me, I have to say this was my first Arma with the smart technology ESC and motor, and I'm impressed with it. My next up, I'm probably gonna try the Spectrum batteries and get the full experience of the Spectrum setup on it. But for right now, ESC and motor was excellent with it. No issues whatsoever. Drivetrain. We're gonna talk about the front differential, front drive shafts, center differential, center drive shaft, and the rear differential with the rear drive shafts. In regards to how they handle and perform, I had no issues in regards to drive shafts breaking, drive shafts coming out of the cups. No issues whatsoever, guys. This is an on-road car, so you're not gonna really have those kind of problems unless you really start to bash this thing around and drive it for what it's not meant to drive for. but for the most part, drive shafts held up. Diffs held up on the load, no crunching of gears, nothing whatsoever, guys. And how they have this set up, I am pleasantly pleased with what Arma has done. So the diff oils that are in here, it is stock. And I have to say, guys, for how I drive my vehicles, I think this is perfect. For those of you that have followed me for quite some time, you guys know I'm not a speed junkie. I'm not trying to hit 100 miles per hour in my cars. I'm mainly just trying to drive my cars more so for touring. And I thought this was set up excellent for it. I mean, I was able to get that back open, get it really sliding around. I mean, this thing was really performing well. I really did enjoy how the out-of-box experience on how the drivetrain is set up on this. And, you know, I've tuned my Limitless to perform exactly how they have this driving out of the box. And I am really surprised with how well this thing performed out of the box. Handling and suspension. Here, guys, we'll talk more about the shocks and how they were set up out of the box. I did not tune my shocks whatsoever in regards to the viscosity of the oil in the shocks, the shock heights, the springs. Everything that I have on this car is still in the stock form, and I'm telling you right now, I did not have any issues with it. The ride wasn't too hard. It wasn't bouncing around. I didn't have anything where the ride was too soft and I was bottoming out on certain bumps. I mean, this thing was just performing well. It was just a well-performed on-road car, and I really did like how Arma has come out and really put everything together right. As for the shocks that are on here, guys, they are screw down metal bodied shocks. They are easily tunable to your driving characteristics. There is a lot of tunability when it comes to the suspension on this. You have a pillow ball suspension in the front. You have turnbuckles in the rear, so you do have some tunability to this car. If you really want to get this thing dialed in even further when it comes to the suspension, you have that ability on here. I mean, there is so much you can do to this car to get it dialed in. If you're going to start doing things like neighborhood races, you can really get this thing dialed in to drive right for you. As for me, I just like to get out in the parking lot and just rip it around, and I think it's dialed in right for me. Just a parking lot basher. I'm able to get out there and really enjoy this car. Durability. We'll touch on this one. It's going to be very short, as I said, guys, in the beginning, but we'll touch on this one. I didn't have any issues. No issues where it was durability question marks on this. You guys know all about the Hoons. You know, if you abuse them, they'll wear down on you. You drive them normally, they'll last you for a little bit. You know, there's also the silver and the gold Hoons. I do have a set of gold Hoons that I run on my Limitless. Those perform well. I only run them in the wintertime because of the compound of them. I think they run better when it's cold. For me, in the cold environment that I live in, it's a little bit better for me when I run them in the winter. I just don't want to wear them all out if I'm driving them in the summer. These white ones are perfect. I did order a set of silver ones, but by the time they came, the seasons actually changed. So for me, I'm going to be running the white ones, and I may get a set of golds for the winter time. I'll see how if I'm going to run this in the winter or not. But from what I saw in regards to durability, the body held up well. I'm not a big curb banger and things like that. I don't, you know, thrash my vehicle up on the curb. I handle my vehicles well. There is some rubbing when it comes to the fender parts of the shell, and I did pre-tape mine, knowing that this could possibly happen. I did pre-tape mine, and it's funny that one of the sides, it actually ripped right through the Gorilla Tape. It's weird. I mean, it's the weirdest thing. I've never had that happen to me before, but it actually rubbed right through the Gorilla Tape, and it is starting to rub out on the body. I don't know if that's picking up on the camera or if you guys can see that at all, but it rubbed right through the Gorilla Tape here, and it started rubbing out the body in this section. I've never had this happen to me before, and it's the first time that I've ever had the Gorilla Tape get rubbed out and it starts to rub out the body underneath. But as you guys can see on my car, I did Gorilla Tape all of the fenders, knowing that that could possibly happen. Outside of that, guys, the car has held up well. There's not really any durability questions on this. I gotta say that for an on-road car, you're not really gonna have really durability issues unless you're abusing it. Workability. Now this I can't speak on in regards to the Felony, but I could speak on it in regards to the Limitless, because for the most part the chassis layout is fairly the same, and I go over that in my unboxing video, guys. So if you really want to know more about the comparisons between this and the Limitless, go check that video out. But as I'm stating, the chassis layout on this is very similar to the Limitless, and I got to say that working on the Limitless was fairly easy. It is a fairly open design. The rear and the front clip, they just come right off. There's not that many screws you got to take off to get the front clip out or to get the rear clip out, or even the center differential. So what I did on my Limitless, I did some work in regards to the center diff. I no longer had the spool in there. I actually have a diff going on in the center. And, you know, it was fairly simple. I think it was like 4 screws to remove everything. Very easy to work on these cars. So I will say workability, it's very easy. Support. With these cars, if you have been working with Horizon Hobby, I will say over the last 6 months since Horizon Hobby has been going through those changes on their website, it has been a struggle, but I will say they warned you of that. They did say on their website that you know, response times will be delayed from them. So I will definitely put it out there that Horizon Hobby over the last 6 months, and especially with everything else that's been going on in the world, it has been slow to get responses from Horizon Hobby, and that's just in particular to any of the Horizon Hobby lineups, any of their cars. I have not had any reason to reach out to Horizon Hobby in regards to my Felony. It's been performing well. I like to see Horizon Hobby get back to how they were before, and maybe they are, because I have not had any need to reach out to them. But I'm hoping that they're as good as I've been having with them over the years, because for the most part, I've had excellent experiences with Horizon Hobby and their customer service. So I'm just going to keep saying for right now, maybe it's just what's going on in 2020. 2020 on a whole has just been a bad year. And I'm just going to say it's just a bad experience right now for 2020. Is it worth it? At $650, you're getting all of this car. And I got to say, guys, I'm really impressed. For a vehicle that drives like this out of the box for $650 at the time of this video, for me, it's worth it. I feel if I tried to put a kit like this together, it would cost me much more than, and I'm trying to think about what it totaled up to when I bought the Limitless. The Limitless is a $400 roller. I put in a Tekin system, but I can't really call it in regards to the purchase of the Tekin system, because I actually took the Tekin system from another one of my vehicles. But just adding that up, guys, I have a Savox servo in there. You know, I wasn't pulling any punches. I have my Futaba receiver that's in there that's binded up to my Futaba controller. I have a lighting kit in there. I mean, you add all those things up. I want to say I'm over this amount. I'm over $650. I may be closer to like the $800 mark at that point on that car. And for $650 out of the box, they're putting all this together, and I'm pretty much happy with all the electronics that are in here. I say that's a win, guys. Is it worth the $650? I have to say yes. And I would say the same thing about the infraction. $650 for the infraction. If it drives anything like this, I've never owned one. Gotta say it's a win too, guys. $650, you get all this in there for what they give you. I'm really enjoying what they did, guys. And I'm just gonna roll right into, would I buy it again? And I would buy this again. I would buy a black version of this. And I have to say, for me, it's the best buy of 2020 from Arma. I really do like the Arrma Felony. And by far, unless they release something in the month of December, which I'm probably saying something about that, this to me is the best vehicle for 2020 coming from Arma. Yes, they've released the Arma Outcast, a slew of V3s and V5s and everything else. The Felony is it for me, guys. I know some guys are having some issues with the tires that they're purchasing as of late, But the ones that come on the car, I haven't had any issues with them. They've held up well. The car's has been driving excellent, and I really do enjoy what Arma did to this. You know, so if I was to say, would I buy this again? Yeah, no question. I'd buy this again. I'd buy 2 of these. I mean, this car is amazing, guys. I'd really like to see them put this into a roller as well, and then not even give you a painted body. I mean, I like the paint schemes that they came out in regards to the black and this burnt orange, but I'd like them to give me a clear one. Let me do it myself and really do it up. I'd really like to see them put out a roller for this. But that's it, guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram for our latest post to the channel. This is Ready Set RC, signing out. Thanks again, guys.